I would say the most promising and most refreshing thing about this transfer window is the quickness and the silence that we seem to be moving with. Deals are getting worked on. I'm not sitting there thinking, is Ed Woodward spinning around in his chair again? Are we actually doing anything in this window or what? It looks like there are 3 or 4 deals being seriously negotiated, planned, and targets aligned and ranked and moved upon. And it's the process that we've been kind of crying out and wishing for years. INEOS are serious. They've assembled this front of house staff, which is a bit of an Avengers Assemble sort of affair. And then they've seemingly gone to work in putting their targets down and getting them over the line. Today I want to have a look at what I think would be INEOS's wish list. Look at their behaviour so far, try and pinpoint our targets, who they might be under Sir Jim Ratcliffe's sort of revolution and regime. The deals for Zirkzee and De Ligt seemingly at a relatively advanced stage. So for the sake of making it interesting, I'm going to take them off the wish list and presume that they are dealt with. So I'm going to try and add some different names in there today for people that I think INEOS would love to try and bring in. So this is INEOS's £200 million wish list. First name on there, I think, is Manuel Ugarte. So he's a £60 million player, but I have a feeling that we might try and loan this guy and kick the fee down the road to help us with our PSR regulations. Now, he's a name that has been linked with Manchester United, but I think you're looking at the Copa America slowing things down for that a little bit. Shouldn't be a problem going forward. He has been identified on the channel. We did a look at him while he was still at Sporting, and there is a lot to like about him. I think him going to PSG and leaving PSG fairly quickly is not a massive issue. I think it's just one of those clubs a bit like Chelsea where they're just in constant flux and turmoil, and he fits the bill. He is high potential, tailor-made replacement for Casemiro. He looks very likely to be leaving PSG in the summer, and reports suggest that that loan to buy might be the deal that they want to settle on as much as we do. So we'll have to see what happens on the actual final price, but he is a £60 million signing. Next up is a bit of an interesting one, and it's a very interesting one considering the fact that we're going to sort of take Zirkzee for granted as being almost done in this little wish list. Or we could look at it as him being an alternative to Zirkzee because the money's quite similar. And that's Ivan Toney. Now, the rumblings of Toney to United are regular. I think it would be safe to say. They've started to surface once again. And his cameos at the Euros, he's impressed. And there's plenty of reason, I think, that he could get a decent move this summer. And he's entering the final year of his contract. It would make sense to move him on before you lose him for free. INEOS are supposedly in the market for another striker after Zirkzee. Someone that is a little bit more in the mould of Højlund, and that would obviously depend on sales. Now, I don't think Toney is quite as running behind as Højlund. I actually think he's almost a halfway house between what Zirkzee offers you and what Højlund offers you. But I think it's an interesting prospect. I like having multiple tools for the job. I think that's a very astute thing. And clearly, INEOS likes stacking positions. They love to stack a position. As we've seen with the pursuit in the defence, I wouldn't mind if they were trying to do this in midfield, and maybe that's where the Rabiot thing surfaces again. But it does look like they're trying to stack them. So I think that's a little bit of a left field one, but the rumours are there. The rumours could also be the fact that it's Zirkzee and then Ivan Toney might be second or even third on that list. So that could be one that we've maybe took the wrong angle on or the wrong strand on there. But we'll throw him in the mix and see how it goes. The next up is Branthwaite. Now, whether you like him or you don't like him, he is clearly a serious target in INEOS's eyes, and they clearly like him, and Everton clearly like him, which is why they've put an absolutely monumental fee on him. Well, monumental. That was monumental and monstrous, and I sort of fucked them both up, didn't I? Hopefully we've learned from what happened with Maguire in the past. I think 55, 60 million, you might actually get both people to do business with that. And I think that they want him. I don't necessarily think that they're just throwing these bids in because they don't think they can get him. I actually think they're trying to get him. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? And that might presume that we maybe miss out on Lenny Euro to get him in. Which means that we probably still need another defender. So De Ligt through the door, Branthwaite through the door, David Hancko. So it's a position that they need to reinforce because you can't trust Luke Shaw, and Malacia, his fitness is just a myth, isn't it, at the moment? So you need someone that's reliable, and someone that's multi-rolled, can play left back or left side centre half would be absolutely sensational. And if you're trying to buy 2 players in to fulfil that role, it gets quite costly. But if you can get one that's maybe going to give you a bit of a backup option in both, that's fantastic. And he is a quality player. He's become a real established centre half. He's done well as a left back. I think he fits perfectly into the squad, and he's much cheaper than buying 2 players. His best quality is his pure defending, and I think there'd be a time and a place where you would opt for him over maybe more attacking ones. He is what you call a natural defender. He's about blocks, he's about tackles, he's about interception. His ball playing isn't to be underestimated, but this is not someone with genuinely elite ball playing. I think we really missed out on a suitable alternative to Luke Shaw this season. And I think, last season, we really missed out on not having an alternative to Luke Shaw. And I think going into next season with the injury proneness of Luke Shaw, with no backup, would be a bit of a mistake. Now, presuming that you end up having to pay full whack for Ugarte, that's coming in at around about 180, 190 million pound. Now, you're probably not going to get all of those done. Specifically, you're not getting all of those done if you've already brought in Zirkzee and De Ligt. But I think that could be a brilliant window. I think it fixes the majority of the holes in the squad. I still think there's more. I wouldn't mind another number 8, and I wouldn't mind a right winger. But I think that could be a bit of an alternative at what they're looking at. And we've only really gone on players there that we know that United are interested in. So I've not really thrown any left field ones in and gone, oh, Steve would like to bring in Nico Williams. We've just looked at some of the players that INEOS are into there. But are we looking here at a sort of shortlist with rankings, or are we looking at INEOS potentially getting all of these things, or a lot of these things, over the line? You guys let me know what you're thinking, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.